college football, do you think the move to more RPO offenses means less, fewer shifts, fewer jet motion type plays? I guess you can get a look at what you're seeing as a
No, not
quarterback.
necessarily. No, I think the RPO stuff's just more a reflection of shotgun. How you gonna have play action? When you're under center, it's hard to run RPOs when when you're running play action. You know what I'm saying? And have your eyes on the things that it's just a more reflection of being in the shotgun, and then those zone read principles where you're reading, whether it's first level, second level, third level. It's harder to do that when you're under center. I don't think the motion has anything to do with it. I mean, motion you can use it to your advantage, or if you feel like that you don't need it that particular week or whatever, you may not see as much of it. But it's just the RPO stuff is just a evolution of zone read, and defenses getting good, and offenses having to make some adjustments. It's play action. That's all it is. I mean, it's just old-fashioned, back in the day, 144 and 145, sprint draw, eye backs, turn, here we go, suck them all up in, then you get your eyes downfield and you throw the play action passes. Create space with that. Now you're not under center. So your run game, you try to marry things off your run game. Any good football team that wants to try to run the ball, you have to protect your runs with your play action game, whether it's a guard pulling or it's off your zone. Maybe you're a zone team and a zone read team, so now you're going to have some things built in, some bait routes, some third level reads where you're keying safeties. You give the same presentation of the zone read, but you're really keying a safety, and things just happen. The offensive line don't know. They just think you're running the ball. But you have to have a way to teach them through code words or whatever it may be, so that they know that it can't be downfield, because that's a big emphasis. And so that's where all that's coming from. But motion can help you. It can hurt you too. It just depends on who you're playing and what their style is.
We hear less of that pre-snap eye candy in this offense than maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Just know we've been pretty good. Pretty good.
We hear the term RPO thrown around a lot, and I'm sure you hear it too, watching
Yeah.
film, things like that. How much? I mean, do you have a gauge of how much stuff is like you're talking about? It looks like a read, but you really have a specific call. Like, how much of what you do is actual RPO, and how much stuff is designed to look like it?
We try to marry as many things as we possibly can, but a lot of the stuff is not really called as an RPO. It's just your run game, and there's just things that are built into the run game that just happen. That's the quarterback managing the game. You might get something on the edge, and that's just like a toss sweep without having a toss sweep. But it's got to be at the right times, and the guy's got to block properly, and et cetera. But you're trying to strain the guys, but horizontally, all your vertical stuff's built in too. So and then you have that's your base call stuff. But then you have RPOs, true RPOs, where you're going to run the ball, but it's going to be on the perfect look. And you're trying to give yourself the most advantageous situation. That doesn't mean you're going to make the block. That doesn't mean that guy ain't going to blow your guy up. That doesn't mean your guy is going to get movement like he needs to. That doesn't mean that, we're going to block the outside number properly. I mean, but you give yourself the best chance to have a successful play. But you have something built in to that play that has a chance for big play potential if you get a certain look. So you're not always having to feel like you got to make a perfect call. You have answers built into the call, and there's no tempo team who doesn't do that. You have to have that, otherwise you can't play fast. And you have to equip them with answers and with the tools they need to stay on schedule and be successful. So there's a lot that goes into it. But yeah, I mean, there's just And there's some calls that it's a run all the way. It's a run all the way, and we try to have answers so that everything is secured, so that we have a chance to have a positive play. But maybe that's to set something up, you know, later on. You just try to marry all those things the very best you can, and it's a lot of fun doing that. And we've been really good. But it's, you know, players make plays. Players make plays. As coaches, we just try. Our job is to give them a chance to be successful, and give them answers. If we don't have answers for them, they ain't listening to you. Make sure we got answers, and give them the best chance to be successful. Give them opportunity to make plays, and we've done that. I mean, we've done that. I mean, we've won a lot of games around here with a bunch of different players. So. I think we're certainly not perfect, but I think we've, week in and week out, for the most part, have done a pretty good job of giving our guys a chance to be successful. And when we don't, when we come back in, we own that and we evaluate that, and we're like, that's coaching. Or maybe sometimes they were just better. You know, they had a better call than we had, or whatever. And just try to get better each week.
Coach, you mentioned a little bit earlier that at Georgia Tech, option-based offense is a little bit different than the ones you faced again. Just now being an ACC play, how much different is that going to be from the non-conference action and those new freshmen you've spoken of? How can they draw on those experiences to then prep them for conference play?
Well, it's different because you're playing an ACC team, and that's no offense to Georgia Southern or Furman, but I mean they got some. It's Georgia Tech. Got good football players, really good football players that can match us in a lot of areas. So that's the biggest challenge. And then, but I do think that having 3 games now under our belt, you see some of these freshmen getting better. And that's another thing that I want to see us play our best game, number one, and I want to see us tap into the experience that we had at A&M. You know, because I think that I want that to show. That was not an easy game, and I mean that was a major challenge for this team, and for them to go out there and handle the adversity and find a way to win. Made them enough mistakes to lose 3 times, but still found a way to win. You know, I just want to see us use that experience in a positive way this week as we go on the road. Because again, if we're going to win the division, we're going to have to win on the road, and we're going to have to play better than we did against A&M, for sure. Because conference play is a different deal, man. Another level, whole nother level of intensity, and passion, and just the margin gets much smaller as you jump into conference play.
Going off that, do you feel like the players maybe feel a little more nerves and pressure in that first conference game compared to maybe later on in the season?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think to be honest with you, probably the more nerves come in that first game because you hadn't played in a long time. I mean, regardless of who you're playing, I think that's usually where the majority of the nerves are, and then probably your first road game as a team every year. It just so happens this year our first road game was a non-conference game. I think our first. I mean, we've been on. Last year was it Louisville? Who we played last year? You don't know. You weren't here, Ross. Dang it! Tim used to always tell me that. You were the Redskins. So anyway, yeah, I think we opened up at Louisville. So that was kind of a conference, division, game day, you know, all that stuff. Whereas this year it was game day, all the way out to Cal State, but it wasn't a conference game. And so it was a very difficult challenge. And you lose those games, whereas you lose a conference game, you know, especially a division game, you're it's like losing twice. You're in the hole because whoever that other team would have to lose twice, you know, because they got the tiebreaker on you. So it's different from that, but I think from a nerve standpoint, where we are now, we're going in the second quarter. We've already played a quarter of football. You know, let's get better. That's behind us. We're playing football. We've all gotten in the rhythm of what we're doing now, and let's get better.